Alright guys, when you get these factory Hyundai keys, they all come disassembled, so you're gonna have to put the blade in, and then you're gonna have to pin these in with these tiny little pins. A good thing to invest in is roll pin pliers. They have these to push the pins out in 2 different diameters, and in the jaws here they have holes where you can put your pin in. The only problem with these is Hyundai uses a shorter than normal pin length. So if you put them in the pliers, they're flush with the pliers, so you can't use them on these. So these are always a pain in the ass. What I like to do to get them started is you just take one end of that roll pin, you kind of squeeze it together a little bit to compress that roll pin. Only do right on the end. This is so you can actually get it lined up with a hole and get it to stay while you get your pliers on there. This is a super finicky process. Also, the bottom of this blank is not completely symmetrical. So the hole isn't perfectly centered and they're a different shape. It's really hard to see, but you can only put these in the key one way. Otherwise the hole doesn't line up properly. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see in there, but right now the key doesn't go in any further. So there's a little bit of the key sticking out on the bottom. If I flip this key around, it actually sits in there all the way and the roll pin can go in. So what I like to do is I hold the blade in like this. If you have it flipped out, you can't get to the pin. If you have it flipped in, you can't get to the pin. So you kind of have to keep it halfway flipped. And then you set the pin on there. You just press down and push the pin in. It doesn't always compress all the way depending on your pliers. So I like to grab some other pliers and just push it in there all the way. Or if you want, you can use this end to push it in further. Just make sure you don't push it out the other side. Another thing to note is make sure your key flips properly. If you don't have this pushed in all the way, it'll stick out and it'll catch on the plastic and eventually will wear into the plastic. So make sure it all goes nice and smooth. So this one is good to go. Fraser already has this cut. This second key is assembled as well, so let's go program this.
Battery charger, engage.
Okay, step 1, battery charger every fucking time, boys. Okay, my favorite's to use AutoProPAD for Hyundai and Kia because of this identify vehicle via VIN. So click that with the ignition on. It picks up our 2020 Hyundai Kona. It's got the chassis code and everything in there. Immobilizer. Program keys. Insert the key you want to be programmed into the ignition and turn the ignition on, which we got. Now it's going to ask us for a security code. Programming success. We don't want to program the next one. Turn ignition off, wait 10 seconds. Think about all those friends that left you back in the day. Just reminisce on old times. Then turn the ignition back on. Programming completed. Success! We got another vehicle that starts, but the remote doesn't work. Oh no! So what do? Turn our ignition back on. Remote system. Program remotes. Switch ignition on, which it is. Then switch ignition off. Remove key. Press yes. Press lock or unlock for more than 1 second. Remote programming complete. No, we don't want to program another one. That's the worst horn I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, we got a working remote. It's the job done. And with the right pin, it's that fast. Happy programming.